Good evening and welcome to Joshua Tree National Park. When I last left you, I was in the California desert, but I was in the Anza Borrego Desert, and now I'm in Joshua Tree. And sorry to have jumped forward here, but what happened was, if you can't tell, I got sick. If you can tell from my voice, I'm still quite a bit congested, although I am feeling a lot better than I have over the past couple of days. So I just needed some time to recuperate, recover, and I was able to do that. Now I'm in Joshua Tree for the next day or so. So I will be staying here tonight, although I'm taking it easy this evening. Probably crawl into bed not too long. Sleep is my friend right now as I recover here on the road. I want to make sure I just stay warm and comfortable and rested so my body can do everything it needs to recover. And then tomorrow we are going to jump in and explore a bit more of the park. I had an absolutely awful night's sleep, and I'm going to tell you about it after I get packed up and moved out of here. It's still very early, so shh. Hi, I'm Christine. After starting life over in 2020, I'm using seasonal work to build financial security, experience new places, and most importantly, keep living life as a big adventure. Come along as I live like a local in desired destinations, spend time in nature hiking, backpacking, and living out of my car, and craft the trips of my dreams on a backpacker's budget. Good morning from Joshua Tree National Park. It's an energy drink kind of morning because it was a rough night. I think we should get started on some breakfast. I camped in the park last night at Hidden Valley Campground. I got there in the evening and was looking forward to a peaceful night. However, there were adversaries in the midst. I feel like I have a lot of ingredients out right now. Things are getting very serious and they're warming up. So time to layer down. All right, so about ready to get down to business. I'm going to take this juice shot first. If you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I am actually recovering from a cold, so bottoms up. I like elderberry. I like the way it tastes. All right, but back to business at hand. We are making a French toast breakfast today here in Joshua Tree because my mom sent me away with this wonderful homemade bread, and it is a few days old now, so I think a good use for it would be to make some French toast. This is a really thick slice. It's been a while since I've done this, so let's see how well I remember it. There was a time that this was one of my most favorite foods. I think I get eggs and milk and whisk them together. I don't have any vanilla extract, but I have this vanilla bean paste, bourbon vanilla bean paste. And taking us way back to the state of Washington, I actually have the cinnamon that lady at the shop gave me, if you've been watching since that long. If not, you need to catch up on the journey, and I will link where you can follow along from episode 1 to 21. All right, let's get cracking. Some eggs. I know I have a couple of French speakers among my audience, and I know the French has something called pain perdu, which is, I think, like French toast, but it's eaten as a dessert. Let me know if I'm right or I'm wrong, because I just, I've never quite gotten an answer on that. Is it pain perdu? Like, that would be bread lost bread, because you would use old bread to make French toast, which is what I'm doing. Not exactly award-winning French toast, but it'll do. Well, breakfast is all cleaned up. I'm out on the road and ready to explore the park. I'm going to show you around today. We're going to see some pretty awesome things. And then I am getting the heck out of here for tonight because I am not having a repeat of what happened last night. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened. I pulled up at camp shortly before sunset. My plan, just to sleep in the car, but I wanted to stay in the park, so I needed a place that was legal for me to do that, and campgrounds are the only legal place inside the park. I actually went to bed really early, just a little bit after sunset, because I am still recovering from a cold and wanted to rest up as much as possible. So I did get a few solid hours of good sleep. Then, in the middle of the night, I heard the distinct and unmistakable sound of a critter. It is a sound I have come to know quickly and well, and it is the sound of a mouse breaking into my engine bay and making itself at home. I think it is a natural animal instinct that this is taken as a threat, and it wakes me from my deep slumber to interrupt its business. Well, that turned into quite an ordeal. First off, I was utterly shocked with how bright the moon was in the sky. When I got out, I didn't need to use any sort of flashlight or anything to be able to see. And I grabbed a couple of quick pictures because I was taken with how otherworldly the landscape looked at that time. It was it was actually incredible. And if I'm grateful for anything in the experience, it was getting to see that. However, I had failed to open my engine bay the evening prior, and so I went ahead and decided to correct that pretty much immediately, knowing that in the past, that's where the mice have infiltrated my vehicle. Armed with some peppermint spray as a deterrent, I went ahead and popped the hood. I looked around, I didn't see anything, but I listened, and I certainly did. I gave it a good dousing of the peppermint spray and figured that's all I could do for the time being and crawled back into bed. All right, we've reached a viewpoint, so let's get out and take a look around. You see there on the left is Mount San Jacinto, and the one you see in the distance on the right is Mount San Gorgonio. Those are two of the three saints here in Southern California, referred to as the three saints, but they're San Jacinto, San Gorgonio, and San Antonio. San Antonio is more commonly referred to as Mount Baldy, and they are all peaks exceeding 10,000 feet in height. We should also be able to see the San Andreas Fault. We're going to take a little hike up there, but we are looking down over the Coachella Valley right now. So let me continue my story. That process where I got up, I looked under the hood. I mean, the hood was open at this point, right? I had opened it fully. I had sprayed it with peppermint spray, which is supposed to act as a deterrent. And I kept hearing it. I would get back in the car, I would listen, and then it wasn't very much longer that again I would hear this mouse, and it was just like making a scratching noise or biting, and all I could do was just imagine it like chewing through all of the most integral parts of my engine, and I was like, oh, am I even going to be able to start the car in the morning? So I would get up, get the flashlight out, go look for it, and eventually, after a few times of doing this, I saw it. I'm not sure if I caught it on camera, but it's just a little mouse, and I want to say they're cute, but like when an animal's instinct for survival is in direct competition with mine, it is my arch nemesis, and we are mortal enemies, you know. So I wanted to kill it, but I had no resources to do that. Like, I'm not going to just catch it with my bare hands and try to dispatch it. I don't have that in me. So anyway, I was just very irritated and nervous about what this mouse was doing. But one of the times when I was up, actually the last time that I was up, I was trying to scare it out of the engine because even though I couldn't see it, I could hear it the whole time. And then I did see it, and I saw it crawl into a little hole that is like out, it's in the engine, but it's like over on the other side of this part of the window. So I think it's gone now. I eventually fell back to sleep like a few hours later, and because I hadn't heard anything for a little while, and it didn't wake me up again. So I do think it's gone. I've been listening throughout the morning. I haven't heard anything. And quite honestly, I think that it's just definitely going to get way too hot for it to want to be in the engine or in the car at all today. It's already 75 and it's only 10 a.m. So the heat will work in my favor with this because I don't think that will be survivable heat, although it does live in Joshua Tree, so over 100 degrees is sort of the norm. So here's the thing. I don't think it's still in the car. I'm hoping it's not still in the car. We'll deal with that problem if it continues to be an issue. We're going to get driving because it's actually really hot in the car like this. And I hope the mouse doesn't like that because I want it to be gone, out of here. It's not welcome to live in my home. Go live in the national park, not in my car, bro. Rude. So one of the last times I did actually see it, I saw it crawl into a little space in the engine bay, which isn't quite the engine, it's part of like the body panels or something. I want to try to get some, I'm going to get some, what is that called? I can't remember the name of it. That wiry stuff that you use. Keep wanting to say styrofoam, and it's not styrofoam. Gosh. Jeez. This this fun fact, this kind of thing when it happens is called tip of the tongue phenomenon. It's when this is information you know. Like I've used this word many times. I've referred to this product so many times. I've ordered it, I've bought it, I've used it, and I cannot think of it right now. It's probably because I'm tired. And there is a theory with I took a human memory course in university. There's a theory for this tip of the tongue that the reason why you can't think of it is your brain is not accessing that memory at the moment. So it's helpful to think of something else, and then your neural pathways will find another route to get to that memory because something's wrong with where they're trying to fire through, which is probably the most direct path. So if you go to another part of your memory and another part of your brain, the neurons will then fire from another direction and will successfully reach the memory. Steel wool. It's steel wool. Came to me. But you can also like shove it in holes and rodents won't chew through it. So I'm going to get some of that and put it in that area because sometimes when I've heard them, like they get in the engine, but then it sounds like they're crawling all over the car. And I haven't seen evidence of any of them being inside the car, which is great. And I want to keep it that way because once they get in here, they're going to bring their pheromones in, and then other mice are going to be able to figure out how to get in because they're going to follow the trails of the pheromones. And I think even using vinegar solutions and peppermint, all these deterrents that people have suggested are not sufficient to completely override the pheromone trail. And so I just would like to avoid getting them inside the vehicle so that they can like crawl over my face while I'm sleeping or something. We don't want that to happen. I do continue to keep it so that it's sort of a zero reward situation for them to actually breach inside the vehicle. Like all of my food items are stored in hard-sided containers so they can't have access to food. I think that they're pretty much just getting in to seek warmth. It did get below freezing last night, but of course, if there's food and warmth, why would they ever want to leave? So yeah, there's no access to food in here for them, but I don't want them in here at all. And I don't want them in my engine bay at all either. And if at all possible, I would like to use barriers and deterrents so I don't have to set traps and start killing them because I just I just want us to live separately. That's all. All right, I stopped at a little trailhead. It's called Hall of Horrors Trail. This is one I don't think I've done before. No, I haven't. I haven't done this trail before because this is a climbing access trail and I am not a rock climber, but we're just gonna take a little loop. Actually, we're taking a loop on this trail because I feel like the title is quite apropos for the day. Hall of Horrors. I understand. I'm being melodramatic. Sometimes it's fun. I'm sorry if you find my melodrama insufferable. It's all in good fun. I'm trying to be hyperbolic to make light of a stressful situation. But enough about the mice. Let's check out the hike. Over the years, I have visited this park many times. This is probably my most frequently visited national park, although I have lived for 2 summers in Mount Rainier National Park. We're not going to count that. That's a whole different kind of thing. But yeah, visited this one. I've done several multi-night backpacking trips here, and with all the day trips and other overnight campouts I've done, I've hiked a lot of miles of trail in this park. With that being said, today I'm not going to be doing so much hiking. I'm out on this little walk right now, but as I mentioned, I am recovering from being sick. I actually came out to Joshua Tree because I knew it was going to be warm and dry and was hoping that would help me recover faster with plenty of rest. And unfortunately, last night I didn't get all the rest I was hoping for, but I'm over it. Maybe I'll get a nap in later today. Who knows what's ahead of me, but I do know that we're going to explore the park together a little bit as I'm headed out, because you may never have been here before, although I have many times. And while we're out on this little nature walk, let me tell you, the sights, the sounds, all of that is around me is essentially what this entire park is like. There are some subtle differences in some areas, but a lot of it is like this. Now, what I'm saying is sort of a half-truth, because interestingly, Joshua Tree National Park actually straddles 2 different desert landscapes, 2 ecosystems. The Colorado Desert, which occurs at lower elevations, more in the eastern side of the park, which is below 3,000 feet of elevation, and then the Mojave Desert, which is the section I'm in right now, which is above 3,000 feet of elevation, and that's really where you're going to see all these awesome Joshua trees. The thing about this park is the landscape can be pretty repetitive, especially if you're spending multiple days hiking across it, but it is very wondrous, it's whimsical, and it has its allure. Something about this park, and maybe just the desert in general, always has me wanting to just go a little bit further, just to see what's a little bit further away. And of course that can be very dangerous. Today it's roughly 70 degrees, so a very comfortable and safe temperature, but many months out of the year this park can exceed 100 degrees. So unfortunately, people do lose their lives here just about every year because of, I think, that allure appeal and the fact that there's less landscape features that allow for eyesight navigation. Sort of one big pile of granite rock can look very much like another big pile of granite rock. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just having fun. I love how grippy my shoes are on these rocks. Kind of cool. Ooh, that looks kind of fun. Let's see. Let's go check that out. If you are a casual visitor of the park, I'd say 1 or 2 days is probably sufficient for a visit. If you were doing 2 days, it's definitely like you're going to want to be out exploring some of the rocks.
Although it is just a beautiful landscape to take in. I might take it a bit for granted because I've lived so close to it for so many years. But for rock climbers, I think they spend a lot of time here. And I can see why. Even just like a little light scramble upon the rocks feels like an adult playground. It's really fun. One more tidbit here. Oh, I just stabbed myself with a cactus. I'm fine. I'm fine. It was a yucca, I think. We'll be fine. The trees here are called Joshua Tree, for which the park is named after, are named that from the Mormon settlers who, coming westward, saw the Joshua trees, thought that their branches reaching skyward resembled Joshua reaching towards the heavens, I think. And they took it as a sign that they were headed in the right direction. All right, I gotta start heading out of the park with a little bit more expediency now. As we know, the days are very short this time of year, and I really don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight. I have an idea of what might be happening.